Charles Leclerc is the winner. Grazie ragazzi, as Charles Leclerc takes his second win in Formula 1. The Monegasque driver winning in Spa, and then he wins again in his back-to-back second consecutive win here in Italy. It's broken the ties of Ferrari winning at Monza. The last one was back in 2010 with Fernando Alonso, and now the Monegasque driver stands on the top of the newly revamped podium in front of his adoring TIFOSI. Now they're only here to see one team win, and that's of course Ferrari Analysis. Charles Leclerc has done it. An unbelievable race won by that driver, start to finish. He got pole position yesterday, really dominated the whole weekend. Bravo Charles Leclerc, an amazing feat. So this is the 2019 Italian Grand Prix review. Before we get into it, let's run through the classifications of the race. As I say, an incredible win by Charles Leclerc. He wins on lap 53, an incredible feat by him, led from pole position all the way through the race, no hitches. Incredible by that driver, the 21-year-old really holding the pressure of the charging Mercedes and everyone else behind him in the pack. Insane from him. Incredible win. Well done, Charles Leclerc. In second place is Valtteri Bottas. Now again, we'll get into that in a bit in terms of when I talk about the race, but Valtteri Bottas, the Finnish driver, takes second place. Very towards the end, a very strange changing of the guard at Mercedes, but nevertheless the Finnish driver pulling in a good result in second. Third place and finishing in with the fastest lap in the race, as I say, quite strangely after what happened in the last few rounds, was in the last few laps rather, was Lewis Hamilton of Mercedes, the British driver, being outflanked and outbeaten outright by the Scarlet Red strategy and of course the 21-year-old Monegasque who was leading the race. Fourth place and an unbelievable drive from Daniel Ricciardo, the Honey Badger, an insane result, fourth place for him, also for his teammate Nico Hülkenberg who comes in fifth position. Insane from them, both in the top six after qualifying yesterday and lining up on the grid in those positions. It was looking like it could have been a podium, but definitely a really good haul of points, definitely the team of the week. Insane from Renault. In sixth place is Alexander Albon for Red Bull. Now again, when I'll get on to what happened to him in the race, a good feed from him. He got tangled with Carlos Sainz towards the start of the race, lap 3, going into the first Lesmo corner, but again a good result from him. Obviously second race in a row, his first two races with Red Bull, beating Max Verstappen both in the race, obviously beat him in Spa after Max retired and getting a better result than his Dutch counterpart, so really well done for Alexander Albon. Seventh place is Checo Perez. He started 18th on the grid and he was in 7th place. Insane from him. He also got tangled in with a problem with Max Verstappen at the start, so to get that result is absolutely insane. 8th place, of course, is the man of the hour, Max Verstappen, fighting his way from the back of the grid to that amazing position. After the 3 retirements, bumped him up a bit higher, but he definitely gets in the top 10. Really well done from him. I'll say, first lap calamities with him. Started at the back, collides with Sergio Perez, uses a runoff area, the exit corner, the exit straight on turn 1 chicane, loses front wing, has to change on the soft tyres in lap 1, but makes an incredible race to get to that position. 9th place, Antonio Giovinazzi. Now, he's a home driver. He's an Italian driver. That's an incredible feat for him. We saw a lot of the fans yesterday qualifying and throughout the weekend for this man. Insane, adding to all the Antonio fans, Italy fans. It's really incredible for him, so obviously well done for that. And rounding off the top 10 for the point is Lando Norris. Pierre Gasly in 11th place. Lance Stroll in 12th. Now I'll get to him in a little bit. Really unfortunate for him. George Russell, amazing, 13th position for him, a great finish. 14th position is Sebastian Vettel. Again, what is happening to him? We'll get on him in a little bit. 15th, Kimi Räikkönen. 16th is Roman Grosjean. 17th, rounding off the back of the finishing drivers, is Robert Kubica. Retirees are Kevin Magnussen, Daniil Kvyat and Carlos Sainz. So 3 retirees, not too bad from the Italian Grand Prix, as they Robert Kubica at the back, and they were the finishers of the 2019 edition at Monza. An incredible feat. Obviously, as I say, we started the race off with Charles Leclerc in pole position. A really, really strong race from him. We started out, he retained the lead into corner 1 at the back with really no many calamities, but Max Verstappen collided with Sergio Perez at the back of the grid. He lost his front wing. Sergio Perez also retained a little bit of damage. Max Verstappen came off the worst. He had to go into the pit lane to change his front wing. He also went on the soft tyres, which meant that was his one and only stop. The more durable tyres tyres to finish the rest of the race. Alexander Albon and Carlos Sainz came together on lap 3. They collided into the first Lesmo corner. Now, it was absolutely incredible going into the chicane where Lewis Hamilton and Sebastian Vettel had their crash last year. Alexander Albon unbelievably into that corner, really late braking, try to take Carlos Sainz on the inside. Looked like an amazing fight. Of course, the Spanish driver was not going to let that yield. He battled on. Carlos Sainz had the race in line, and of course, Alexander Albon was pushed off into the gravel, and problems for him. He lost a few positions, but as I've just said there, in his position where he finished, incredible, nothing to fault with Alexander Albon. But the big problem in this race was, of course, Sebastian Vettel spinning around. Now, this was on lap 7. Now, we've seen that happen in Bahrain, and we've seen similar problems like that. Lap 1, where he got onto the curbs in the Circuit of the Americas in Austin 2018, and things like that. Actually, Austin was where his teammate was leading, so it's very similar to this race. Sebastian Vettel, we found him facing the wrong way at the Ascari chicane. Went to the replay, it found that basically nothing happened. He just got onto a little bit more of the curbs than he should have and span the car around. Now, on the comment section and what we've seen on Twitter, a lot of people were saying that as a rookie driver, that isn't great. But he's the 4-time world champion. And somebody commented, basically, Sebastian Vettel is the guy who makes us forget he's a 4-time world champion. He did it in Bahrain. We couldn't believe that a Weltmeister of that, that how high he was, would do something like that. And then, as I say, this just basically makes us realise that he's actually not that good anymore. So that wasn't very good, especially what he does next, which is rejoins the track. Obviously, he's racing, he's still in the fight. I think he was 5th or 6th place, something like that at that point. Rejoined the track quite dangerously. Of course, there's going to be cars coming around the Ascari chicane. It's a very fast corner, going on the back straight. So you're heading down before you get to the Parabolica. Lance Stroll in the racing point is charging up the field, making some good gains in that car. So after mid into Q3 yesterday. He has to avoid Sebastian Vettel, who comes onto the track. Lance Stroll goes onto the curbs. He gets a little bit of damage on his front wing. His quote is, he came on the circuit like an idiot. What's going on? As I say, Lance Stroll also gets a penalty for that, which is really unfair. Sebastian Vettel gets the worst penalty given by the steward, a 10-second stop-go penalty. But of course, that is definitely deserved. Joins the track illegally, also put Lance Stroll at danger. That was a really well done penalty for that. But of course, as I've just said there, Lance Stroll gets a penalty for what he did, which is when he was knocked off by Sebastian Vettel, he spun the car around to rejoin. But of course, he almost collided with Pierre Gasly. Now, I know what they mean, it is dangerous. Lance Stroll received a 10-second penalty for that. So again, as I said, that is definitely dangerous. But a drive-through penalty for Lance Stroll. It is dangerous, but what was Lance going to do? And of course, he was the victim. I did think that was unfair. I didn't think he should get that. Pierre Gasly did avoid it, didn't get any damage. He did go on the gravel, but nothing was problems from that. As I say, Lance Stroll, it wasn't very good from him. He did get into Q3, a great result from him. This just hindered that. Sebastian Vettel, everyone, no way. He cannot do that. In the Sebastian Vettel, I don't want to start something, or maybe I do, is basically the alarm bells were ringing in my head as soon as I saw that of Sebastian is in danger. And I don't mean him, I mean him at Ferrari. We made a video yesterday, which please go and check it out if you haven't already, which is to talk about Sebastian Vettel. How's he doing at Ferrari? Is he actually going to win? Is he going to do something, especially when his teammate has had 1 win? And obviously now it's 2 wins. We also talk about Matteo Binotto and basically everything Maranello-ish. But mainly Sebastian Vettel and what's going on. So please go and check that out if you haven't already. It goes into detail, and obviously I'm sure it'll be bigger because of this. So what is happening to Seb? Absolutely incredible. Just mind-boggling. Absolutely crazy. Kimi Räikkönen gets a penalty, 10 seconds for starting on the incorrect tyres. Alexander Albon gets a 5-second penalty for his move on on K-Mag. Hamilton tries the undercut. He pits on lap 20 for the medium compound tyres. Tries the undercut on Charles Leclerc. So when he pits the lap next time, Charles Leclerc goes onto the hard tyres, but he finally beats it. Mercedes don't get it right. The undercut does not work, and Ferrari stay ahead. Charles Leclerc comes out into the path of Lewis Hamilton, but this is only about 400 of a gap between Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton, and that's how it stays for the next few laps. And this leads on to some of the best battling, some of the best tries of overtakes I've ever seen. Lewis Hamilton in DRS zone all the time, battling through, obviously the drivers are getting blue flagged and things like that, trying to pass Charles Leclerc on the main straight, obviously the place that me and Jordan sat in 2017. Really incredible, but Lewis Hamilton could not make that happen. Charles Leclerc stayed ahead, but boy was it really entertaining to watch. Yes, I say they were battling for a very long time. It started on lap 23 and it went all the way to lap 36. Until the virtual safety car came out for Carlos Sainz, who left the pit lane with a loose front right tyre after a wheel gun failure and retired at the edge of the pit lane entry. The VSC came out for only a few seconds, but this did hinder Lewis Hamilton trying to catch Charles Leclerc. Also as well, after Daniel Kvyat's engine blowout, the VSC also came out, and again that obviously hindered a lot of drivers' strategies and things like that, especially Valtteri Bottas, who had just pitted just before the virtual safety car. And obviously if the virtual safety car's out, it is best to pit for that. It definitely does help you with that. It did change a little bit. Lewis Hamilton had to chase Charles a few more times to get to him. Obviously, he was beating him on fresher tyres and just the pace of that Ferrari, but there was no real change of the guard, and Lewis Hamilton was still on the back of Charles Leclerc even towards the end of the race. Charles Leclerc locked up into turn one once, and he was really getting put under pressure by Lewis Hamilton. And even Pete Bonington said on the radio that we are putting Charles Leclerc under pressure. So just keep pushing, keep fighting, and you're doing a really, really good job. Lap 42, Lewis Hamilton does lose it. He has to take the escape road. This is towards the end of this is 9 laps to go. And this allows Valtteri Bottas to come through. Now, of course, you might be thinking, well, now that this has happened, Ferrari were on the feet, and now, Ferrari have beaten that. They've beaten Lewis Hamilton. He doesn't have to worry about it anymore. But Valtteri Bottas was charging, as I say, much, much, much fresher tyres, pitting about 20 laps after both of those two drivers. Much better strategy. Lewis was he was the changing of the guard at Mercedes, and Valtteri Bottas was now the charging Mercedes. So he wasn't out of the woods yet, but of course he wasn't as good as Lewis Hamilton. Few DRS zones for him, but nobody could really fault Charles Leclerc. He got into a bit of traffic. Daniel Ricciardo, people like that were getting in the way. The big one, of course, was Sebastian Vettel, who was 17th, I believe, at that point when the blue flag came out. He wasn't in contention. I'll say he was getting blue flagged for those two drivers, but it was kind of like, is he going to help Charles Leclerc anymore and get in the way of Lewis Hamilton and Valtteri Bottas? Stayed out of the way, not really any problems. I'll say that was just to get blue flagged by a driver. It also made me think of Austria 2019 when people were giving Pierre Gasly a hard time for getting lapped by Max Verstappen. This has just happened. Sebastian Vettel's getting lapped by Charles Leclerc, but Pierre Gasly isn't a 4-time world champion like Sebastian is, so it all went wrong for Sebastian. If anything, this race is probably his worst race ever. But as I say, we're not talking about him, we're talking about the other guy. So let's just go back onto Charles Leclerc. Of course, lap 53, he takes the checkered flag ahead of the two Mercedes drivers. An incredible feat there on the new revamped podium, the closest podium to the fans. Of course, with the Rowan TIFOSI now just having it on the background, they are out in full force. Everything is red in there. As I say, me and Jordan were sitting there as well. We could have seen all that. We didn't see a Ferrari. We saw a Ferrari on the podium. I think it was Vettel. But we didn't see one on the top step. Of course, that was Lewis Hamilton. This is going to be absolutely insane, the atmosphere, and now Charles Leclerc is one of their own. He is an Italian Grand Prix winner. He is basically somebody who has taken the Tifosi, the Italian Grand Prix, by storm and is absolutely loved by all of the fans. So you've heard my thoughts on the incredible race at Monza, basically one of the best races of the year. Won by a Ferrari driver is just amazing. Me and Jordan were talking about Max Verstappen, of course, winning possibly the 2020 Dutch Grand Prix and the amazing atmosphere that'll bring. But this is probably as good, if not better, because it's Ferrari, the team that means so much. Basically, Ferrari are Italy, and Italy are Ferrari and Monza and all of that. And it just makes it so special to see that happen. So let's get on to Jordan's thoughts, who is watching from afar. Obviously, he thinks this is an incredible race. I'll say we've been there in 2017, so it really holds a lot of memories as well. And Ferrari winning here at Monza is just absolutely incredible to see. So, of course, let's go see what he says. He says, great job by Charles Leclerc, getting away from the Mercedes. Yes, great battling from Alexander Albon and Carlos Sainz. Of course, Carlos Sainz being a McLaren driver, Jordan's driver, so of course he will have wanted Carlos to stay ahead. He did. He had the race in line as a stunning overtake by Carlos Sainz. Really greedy for track position. He said, Seb spins and rejoins in front of Stroll. It's madness. Basically, it's just absolutely crazy. I know that he will have been shouting at the telly thinking, what's going on to the 4-time world champion. Charles defending brilliantly and squeezes Lewis out. Going into the second chicane before the first Lesmo, Charles Leclerc squeezes Lewis Hamilton onto the runoff area. He has to brake, he locks up a little bit. You can see the vibration in the rear wing as he touches the Scarlet Red Ferrari and has to go into the runoff area. Again, a great move by Charles Leclerc. Not really much, even though Lewis Hamilton didn't want a penalty for Charles Leclerc. The black and white flag did come out after Charles did that. We don't normally see the black and white flag being visible from the start-finish straight, but it was just to show that, we're not going to do anything, we're not going to penalise you, like for example we did with Sebastian Vettel when he was going for the win in 2019 Canada. But we're just going to give you a warning that that's just not on. You can't do that. Great racing. I heard the TIFOSI from my house. I mean, they are absolutely incredible. The noise, the atmosphere. If you're not wearing red, you may as well just go home, because the TIFOSI is all red and they are loud. Sainz, come on, he retires. It's not very good from that. Charles driving like his life depended on it, and it definitely did, and that's what was important. Good defending, that's what he was doing. He made a few mistakes, but he possibly pushed Lewis into making a very rare mistake, because Lewis Hamilton doesn't make mistakes like that normally. Bottas catching Leclerc, but he went deep into a corner. Again, Bottas made a few little errors going into the last corner. But to be honest though, Jordan, I don't think there was any worry about Bottas catching Charles towards the end of the race. He was just within a second. He had DRS, but as I said, there was no worry like Lewis was catching him. There was no worry about that. But it was still very good from Valtteri. Amazing Ferrari win, yes, in capital letters. Home or away, it's absolutely incredible. Sorry, win on home soil is absolutely incredible. Driver of the day, Max Verstappen. Now, I don't think I really agree with that. I have a few kind of contentions, but one of my big ones is Sergio Perez. As I say, 18th position to 7th place after the tangle with said guy is absolutely incredible. Also as well, Daniel Ricciardo, an incredible feat from him. 5th place in qualifying yesterday, 4th place in the race is just absolutely insane. Also his counterpart Nico Hülkenberg, I'd definitely say team of the weekend is Renault. Driver of the day also, I'm gonna have to say that overall I'm gonna have to give it again to the man who's won, Charles Leclerc. The defending that he did was incredible, and it wasn't an easy feat. It wasn't something simple to think that a driver on pole position would be able to do. It would kind of remind him, well, it was very much like maiden wins, maiden atmospheres for everybody. He's already won before, but to be honest though, Spa wasn't anything like today was. He fought for almost a third of the race against the two powering Mercedes, the two powering Silver Arrows, where if Charles Leclerc did make a mistake, they were right on his tail, and they really were. Lewis Hamilton, it was nail-biting to watch Lewis Hamilton try and take Charles Leclerc. So of course my driver of the day is Charles Leclerc. But Max Verstappen, of course, back of the grid to his amazing point scoring. 8th place in this race is incredible. But as I said though, Sergio Perez did beat him. So to me, Max wouldn't be driver of the day. He is definitely in contention, but yes, Charles Leclerc has to be my driver of the day, of course. Renault 4th and 5th, incredible. Race rating out of 10, 7 out of 10. Forza Ferrari. My race rating is going to be 8.5 out of 10. I loved this race. It was pure racing. It was what we all expected. I absolutely loved it. Nothing could fault it. I think that it really went amazing. It wasn't boring in any ways. Obviously, Formula 1 isn't going to have 53 laps of overtakes, but it was filled with everything you would want as a Formula 1 fan. Everything you wanted to see from Ferrari. As I say, my guy finished, he had an amazing fight, but he started out at the back after his first calamity where he lost his front wing, and he was 40 seconds behind the leader within about lap 5. I wasn't, bothered at all, because it was such an amazing race, and it's really what Formula 1 needed. Incredible race in Italy. I wish we were there. I was there last year and I was there 2017. I wish I was there this year instead to see Charles Leclerc winning. A great race from him, and roll on Singapore. And just before I finish as well, I'm just going to mention Sebastian Vettel. I don't know what's going on for him. This is a very detrimental race to what he actually stands for at Ferrari. Spinning on his own accord like he did at Japan last year, USA like he did in Bahrain earlier this year, and of course it's his second calamity at Italy after he spun with Lewis Hamilton last year. Again, you could say Lewis Hamilton had nothing to even do with his spin last year, so it's very detrimental for Sebastian, and let's say alarm bells rang with me about what is happening to Seb. Something's going wrong, and something could really happen in the next few rounds, especially next year. He is contract on next year, but we'll see. Obviously, contracts are easily broken. As I said, please go and check that out. The episode yesterday, if you haven't already, we talked about Sebastian Vettel and what is happening with the German driver at Ferrari, obviously the team that was supposed to be his redemption. Obviously Charles Leclerc, we talked about him as well after his first win, but now he has finally got his second. What the space for Charles Leclerc, it's going to be an absolutely incredible round. From my calculations, he has leapfrogged Sebastian in the World Championship. I don't have them in front of us as well, but I know that he was tantally close as well. Also Max Verstappen, there wasn't many points in it as well, so we'll have to see what happens. Lewis Hamilton, of course, extends his lead at the top of the World Championship, obviously, but nobody is going to catch him. So amazing battles from him, and obviously, as I just said, I think that Charles Leclerc is ahead of Sebastian Vettel in the World Championship. Incredible battles from them. It was amazing to see Ferrari. Everyone was all Ferrari today. And yes, that was an amazing race from me. Much better than I thought with Jordan. 1.5 points better than Jordan thought. And I thought, yes, nothing could fault the Italian Grand Prix. So please leave your comments in the description box below. What did you think of the race? Did your predictions work out as well? Remember, we have our prediction league. Obviously, I hope you entered before the race. The results will be coming out very, very, very soon. And again, as always, Singapore, entries can be 10 minutes before the flag falls for the night race in Marina Bay. So make sure you get on them, and we're getting a lot of people playing along. So thank you very much for that. Comment below if your predictions worked. Mine didn't. I know for a fact that I had Max to win. He did not. A lot of people had Charles to win. I know Jordan did. That's worked. But then I know with Jordan, I think he got a point for Charles, and then his other two didn't. He had Hamilton and Bottas, which of course it's not that way, Bottas and Hamilton. But yes, just let us know what you thought about the race and your predictions and everything about the race in Monza. And we'll see you for Marina Bay and our debate show. Thank you very much for 900 subscribers. Hopefully we can get to 1,000 quite soon. Please like this video if you've enjoyed it, subscribe if you're new around here, tell your friends, and of course, we've been the F1 Debate Show, and until next time guys, we'll see you later.